Yeah. Hi guys, my name is Govind Raj. Like everyone knows, like I'm working as a customer support center manager. First of all, thank you to everyone for giving me the opportunity to conduct this session. And the session name is building high performing team. So let me introduce I'm a management graduate and a customer support practitioner from Mumbai, and like having 14 year of overall like customer support management experience and working with Yapsody as a customer support center manager. And I'm also like passionate, like I've written a book on like how to on power of customer support management for support agents, for support team leaders. I've trained around like 500 plus customer support professional managers and leaders on managing the customer support organizations effectively. And also like I'm a Udemy instructor. Like it's my passion to train and learn about support and train about support. So I've been doing this for last like 3 4 years, and that has led me to accomplish my goal in training as well as practicing support and leading this session today. So what this session is all about, like what are we going to learn in this session? How to become an highly effective team leader, no matter like in which department you work, maybe in testing, maybe in development, maybe in marketing support. How to become an highly effective team leader, how to build and manage a high performance team, how to manage the performance management aspect effectively. Very important. Like when you manage your team, managing the performance plays a very important role. If you cannot manage performance, you cannot drive high performance in your team. So are there any prerequisites? There is no prerequisite. Any person like who'd like to become an aspiring team leader can also join and learn a lot about how to become a highly effective team leader. Who this training is for new and existing team leader of any department, aspiring person who would like to become a team leader. In this course content, I'm going to touch base leadership, I'm going to touch base teamwork and employee motivation, performance management, hiring and training management. These are four important things which are really, really very important and essential things to take your team to a high performance level. Either of this thing missing will impact to achieving the high performance level. So I'm going to touch base each sections with deeper aspect. Let's move on. Leadership. Strategic perspective, we're going to learn about role of team leader, very important. Effectiveness of leadership, how to add that flavor in your leadership style. Building relationship with team, very important. Let's talk about strategic perspective first. In leadership, very important is strategic perspective. When we talk about strategy, the first important thing comes in our mind is what is strategy basically. So I want to touch base that strategy is a long term planning which is basically done by the organization head, by the CEO, the founder, and by the business head. They do a long term planning. They do a long term planning for 5 years about how the organization is going to be from a people standpoint, process standpoint, technology standpoint. They calculate the financial things, they set goals to achieve those things. And what they do is they give, once the strategic planning is done, they give individual goals to department heads. Now what department heads do is they divide that department goals into team goals and individual goals. Okay, and then the team leader has to drive the individual employee goal so that the department goals can be achieved. And if the department goal is achieved, the strategic goal of the organization gets achieved. The reason for putting this slide is so that team leaders need to understand this strategic part. So let's move on. Goals. The term goals is quite simple. It's outcome of an organization want to achieve. Like what is the outcome the organization want to achieve? Everyone knows that the main outcome of the organization is to upskill is revenue. Let's take an example. Like organization goal is to take the revenue to this level. Okay, so there is a goal which is set by the organization, and then they come up with objectives. These are milestone to measure progress towards goals. Like let's say I say like within 3 months I want to achieve this x amount of dollar as a financial value. Then I will set objectives, like within within 1 month how much I should achieve, within 2 months how much I should achieve, so that in a quarter I achieve my financial goals. So these are basically milestone to measure progress towards achieving the goal. Now to achieve that objective, organization sets you know critical success factor. These are basically action points, like what we are going to do. Like for example, if we want to increase our revenue, the first important thing is we should retain the existing client so that monthly recurring revenue can be increased. We should retain new, we should acquire new clients. So these are critical success factors. So how to do those things, like by doing webinars, or by doing marketing. These are like critical success action factors. Once those action factors are achieved, objective gets achieved. And once the objective is getting achieved, the goal is getting achieved. To ensure that the critical success factor is achieved, the KPI are defined. Like for example, if we want to achieve the revenue, like how many new presenters we acquired, how many existing presenters we retained. So these are KPIs. Once you define the KPI, you achieve the critical success factor. You achieve the critical success factor, you achieve the objective, and finally you achieve the goal. So KPI is basically measured, and with the help of critical success factor, we drive KPI. So this is from an organization perspective. Now every department can take this as an example and drive it. In my team, in my department, how we do is like goals. Let's say goals. My goal is, one of the prime metric goal is customer satisfaction score. Let's say 95% I want to achieve in 2 quarters. That's my goal of customer satisfaction. Now my objective is to resolve as much as customer cases fast. That is FCR, let's say, for example. So I'll say I'll reduce my FCR by 15%. So that's my objective. So now to reduce my FCR, what is my action point? My action point is like, I'm going to ensure that the agents are trained properly, the new KBs are written properly, regular reviews are done. These are critical success action points which are done by the team leaders. So once the team leader does that, the objective is achieved. If the objective is achieved, the goal gets achieved. To ensure that the goals is achieved, we set KPIs like how many cases are resolved in a particular day, how many KBs are done, is the knowledge transfer done. So these are based in numbers. So this is used as a framework in support, and we follow this framework, and we try to build this is basically driven by the support team leaders, so that the strategic part of support department is achieved, and we can contribute to the organization as a whole. So that's the reason I presented this slide. So this can be taken as an example by any department, and team leaders can drive this. Now, very important role of team leader. What is the role of team leader? No matter like if the team leader is from support department, from marketing department, from testing, from development, their responsibility is to deal with their team members, with other stakeholders, with other managers, other vendors. So they have to maintain a very good skill set. So let's learn about those skill set which they have to learn and maintain it. Strong management and leadership skills. One of the important thing, what is management? First of all, management is enforcing, getting the things done from the employee as much as possible, enforcing the rules and regulation of the organization, making sure that daily tasks are getting done, that is planning and executing the task, measuring team performance. So as a team leader, you must have a very good management skills, and also you must have a very good leadership skills. Now leadership skills is something like inspiring other people. Even though you have authority to get things done, you should get things done in such a way that people are proactively doing it. We're going to learn that in the employee motivation and reward and recognition techniques. So leadership plays a very important role. So as a team leader, you have to play a leadership role. So there are leadership skill sets which need to be upskilled. So strong management and leadership skills are very essential for team leaders. Good training, learning, and professional skills, very, very important. Very important, because whenever a new employee is joining in your department, no matter which department it is, the employee, first of all, the team leader need to understand the learning capability of that employee, and accordingly tailor the training requirement and train the employee in such a way that you get a good output. Okay, so understanding the employee capability, accordingly training the employee is very important. Then learning skills. As a team leader need to learn new skills actually, which are important in their in their career. So always team leader need to learn new things, because if they learn new things, you can coach your employees about the new skills. Plus professional skills. Professional skills are skills which are needed to upskill themselves to next level. So learning skills, professional skills, and training skills to employ is really essential in team leader role. Good management skills to deal with stakeholders across the department, very essential as you deal with so many people. So negotiating with each stakeholders properly, ensuring that proper communication is going across with all the people with whom you are dealing, it's essential. So a team leader need to ensure that They manage a good dealing relationship with all the stakeholders across the department. Good participation in problem solving skills in process, technology, and people, very essential. As a team leader, you're a subject matter expert. First of all, you are expert of that subject. That's why you're team leader. Okay, so you need to have a very good problem solving skill. If the employee is coming to you, then you have to resolve the problem related to process, problem related to technology, problem related to people. Like, you are the one who know like what is the actual process going on and how the process need to be refined, because you're working in that process, you're driving that process. Similarly, you're using technology like Redmine, whatever like is the tool which you use in your department. You're master in that because you're using it, you know how it's going to be leveraged. So sometime there might be a need an improvement in the technology, or there might be some new features which need to be implemented. So you need to participate and share your suggestions. People management skills, one of the important thing. You deal with people, there might be conflicts, you have to negotiate, you have to resolve the conflicts. Very important thing. Customer centric skill, no matter like which department the person is working in, like we all are working as a customer support organization to support our presenters and customers, right? So we all need to have a customer centric attitude. Whenever like we see things, we need to see things from the customer standpoint, like how it can help the customer. Okay, so having that customer centric mindset is very important in team leader. Good process documentation skills, essential. One has to master in that. If you are a team leader, you deal with processes. So writing a good process documentation is an essential skill of any team leader. So make sure that you have a very good process documentation skills. Must possess all the prerequisite skills of your team member reporting to you. Very essential. Like if you are a team leader and there are employees working under you, then you need to have master of the subject which you have, so that you can train your employees, you can coach your employees. If you are not master in your subject, you won't be able to coach your employee. In our case, in support department, discourse skills, solution skills, interactive skills, these three skills are really very important of support agent. So the support team leader need to have all these three skills at a higher level, so that they can coach their reporting employees, their performance reporting employees. So having all these skill sets of your employee is a prerequisite skills for team leaders. All right, so this 7 things are key essential things. One must practice this on a daily basis to be a highly effective team leader. Let's move on to other slide. Effectiveness of leadership. Highly effective leaders are always strategic in nature. They see things from a long-term perspective. They always recognize team member for all the achievement. Like highly effective team leader, what they do is they break down their team into 3 important segments. The number 1 segment is top performers. The number 2 segment is medium performance. The number 3 segment is the bottom performer. So top performer, they will always engage with them. They will check what they need, they will give them the support so that they can perform consistently, because they are the pillar of the team. The middle sector performer, what they will nurture with them. They will try to identify how they can bring them to top level. And the bottom performer group, the team leader will sit with them, they'll understand the root cause, they will create new action points, and they will ensure that the person is implementing the action plans. They will see the result, and they will try to bring that person in the middle performer, so that the entire team gets fully performed and achieves the target. So this is what the highly effective leader does. They always break things from 3 standpoints: high performer, middle performer, and bottom performer, and drive the team. Highly effective leaders are always proactive to predict problems and coming with viable solutions, so there is less impact. So they will know, like, what are the problems we might encounter. They will anticipate those problems. Like for an example, in our case, in support department, we run 24/7 support. So the support team leaders, they know, like, in case if there is an absenteeism, who need to be asked to be extended, or maybe like who can balance the shift in such a way that both the calls as well as the chat as well as the other support activity which we do are taken care of. So they anticipate the problem and then they give a viable solution so that there is less impact. Highly effective team leaders are always people oriented. They see things from a people standpoint. They listen to employee, they understand their emotions, and in that process what they do is they give solution and acknowledgement and leave them fully transformed with increased productivity. That's important. So they make sure that they deal with the people effectively. If the person is not performing, they understand why the person is not performing. Accordingly, they create action plans, they implement the action plan, they support the person, and they increase the productivity as well as performance. Highly effective leaders are always positive oriented. These people are always positive oriented. If there is something is unrealistic, they will try to produce ideas to make it happen. Like for example, if you're not able to meet the goal, you know that you're not going to meet the goal, but still you're positive and you're pushing the team so that at least they can give some kind of output and you can be at the edge. Like for example, if our goal is to meet 95% customer satisfaction score and we are standing at 92 and we're not able to meet it, at least we'll push the team by acknowledging them so that they can at least achieve 94. So we are touching the unrealistic goal by putting the best possible effort, by positively motivating the people. So this is what highly effective team leaders does. They will push the team positively so that unrealistic goal can be made realistic. Highly effective leaders will always lead by example. That is, they act as a role model for the level of performance and the professional expectations. They maintain a very high level of integrity and they set a standard in the team. Like for example, in our case, the support team leader, they have to have a high integrity in terms of schedule adherence, because if they log in on time, they can expect the employees to log in on time, like the support agents to log in on time. Similarly, in other department also, you might be having priority in your task. So the team leaders need to have that integrity so that they can expect the same level of integrity from their team members. Okay, so this is the effectiveness of leadership. Practicing this is really essential, which will help you to take your team to a high performing level. Relationship building with the team. Below are some important tips which a team leader must follow to build a credibility, because you interact with your team members, you interact with other people. So building relationship with your team is one of the most important thing. Always show fairness with everyone in the team. That's really important. Be fair with people. Sometime it will happen that you're fair with one people, but other people might feel that you're not fair. So you need to justify that, like why you have done that, why you have taken that decision from a business or from your process standpoint. You have to justify that so that it shows fairness with everyone in the team. Always remain loyal with the team members, very important. Be trustworthy and loyal with the team members. Fulfill the commitment. If you have committed something, like in our case, like if we commit something for leaves or commit something for schedule immediate changes or commit something related to performance expectation, is always fulfilled actually. If you are committing, fulfill it, honor it. In that way you can build a highly effective relationship with your employees and with your team members. Be straight to team members so that they know the expectations. Very important thing. If you feel something need to be set, the expectation, set the expectation very clearly. Like for an example, in our case, we have to run 24/7, so we have leave request, we have schedule adherence challenges sometimes. So setting expectation is very important. Like we need you in this shift, or we need you in that shift. Why we need you? What are the skill set? What are the employee constraints, process constraint, business constraint? A lot of things are there. So setting appropriate expectation to employee is very important, so that employee understand why these things are done, and that adds value in building high performance team. Always demonstrate willingness to assist. Like your team employee, as a team leader, the person who is working with you as a mentee might need support. So always demonstrate, always show willingness to help them, to support them, so that they can come out of non-performance and perform well. Or maybe they are at an average level, they can go to a top level. So support them, show them willingness. Respect all the employees. It's really very important, no matter from what the person is, from which background, or like doesn't matter actually. We are working together. Respecting the employee is very important. So respecting the employee matters a lot. If you respect, that builds relationship with the employee, and that builds highly effective team. Teamwork and employee motivation, very important thing. Type of team performing stages, characteristic of high performing team, techniques to reward and recognize employee. So these are three important things which is very important for teamwork and employee motivation. You've learned about leadership part, how the team leader's role is, how the leadership effectiveness need to be built. You learned those things. Now how to work with team and motivate the employee, that's important. Type of team forming stages, characteristic of high performing team, technique to reward and recognize the employee. Three important things we're going to learn right now. Forming stage. What is forming stage? What is storming stage? What is norming stage? And what is performing stage? There are four important stages which every team leader will come across when you build your team. Very important thing. Let's get into each aspect. Forming stage. At this stage, the whole team is new and they're very formal with each other. You might have noticed this, whenever you are building your team as a team leader, some people are joining from this company, some people are joining from some XYZ company. So they're formal with each other because they're new actually in the beginning. All the team members are very much excited to, okay, I want to get things done. I've joined this company. I want to work in this team. They're very much excited to work. The team members are treating each other as strangers. It happens sometimes. They treat each other as strangers because they don't know each other. KPI has been communicated to team members by the team leader, and expectation has been sent that you have to achieve this goal. So sometimes some team member might feel anxiety about whether I'm going to fit in the team or not, right? So they might have that thought process. So in the forming stage, you will find these pointers, and then you will come across the storming stage. At this stage, team members are having disagreement with each other. They're having disagreement with each other because there might be different viewpoints. So they will disagree most of the time. Like they have their own viewpoint about tasks and responsibilities. So at storming stage, there'll be different viewpoints. All the team members view themselves as an individual player instead of a team player. Mainly it will happen, they'll individually work. They know that, okay, this is my goal, I want to hit my goal so that I can sustain in the organization, in the department, instead as a team player. That will be always the perception. There's a lack of engagement in the team. You will find lack of engagement in the team because it's a storming stage. People are treating each other as stranger. Their viewpoints are not matching. There's a disagreements going on. So there is a strong disengagement. And norming stage, what happens? At this stage, team members got a sense that if they agree with each other, they can be more efficient and more effective. They know that, okay, it's done now. There's a lot of storming has happened. Now I have to agree so that we can be more efficient and more effective. At this stage, team members are more flexible with each other because they know each other. At this stage, team members have started appreciating each other. They've started knowing each other, so they appreciate each other. They've started engagement with each other, like going for lunch together or having a break together. So they engage with each other. So they have normalized now. At the performing stage, all the team members have trusting each other, and hence a trustful work environment has been deployed. So at this stage, each one of them in the team, have started trusting each other, and a trustful environment has been created. Employee, what they do is they celebrate if something is happening good. If someone has achieved some targets or something, they celebrate it, they reward the person. Team member have started supporting each others, like in our case, like we are doing 24/7, so there is a shift of people are doing, they're adjusting with each other. So at performing stage, people start adjusting each other. Team productivity is always maintained and achieved at this stage, and team member have started supporting low performer employees so that team goals can be achieved. Very important thing. At highly performing team stage, let's say you have a team member of 10 people, out of 10, 8 are performing well and 2 is not performing well. Then out of those 8 people, at least 2-3 people will support those 2 people so that they can come out of non-performance, so that because they know that they have a team goal to hit actually. Okay, so that is how, like, low performing employee is supported by high performing employee in the performing stage. At this stage, the team works in autopilot mode. That is, even if the team leader is not available, is not present, their team is working efficiently and effectively. They're achieving consistent results because they're at a performing stage. Only 10 teams out of 10, like 2 teams have the potential to reach this stage because it is only possible with help of each other. So out of like 80% of the teams like cannot do this, only 20% of the teams are able to do it, because performing stage is the highest stage which the entire team need to perform with each other. That's when you reach at this stage. As a team leader, your ideal target should be taking your team to performing stage. You have to figure out like what are the leadership effectiveness you need to build, what are the relationship building you need to build, what are the KPIs you need to set, what are the coordinations you need to do. You have to work out those things so that you can take your team to this level. Now, characteristic of high performing team, this team, they set clear goals and expectations. Like they have a team goal and they set a team goal. Okay, this is what we need to achieve in this month. They set a clear expectation, and this is what your individual goals are. Okay, they set a clear expectation. They effectively communicate, by each team members. The team leader will effectively communicate by each employees. They will send email to the employee in case if they're not performing. They will appreciate the employee, they will acknowledge the employee. There is an effective communication going on between the team leader and the employee, so that the expected goal is achieved actually. Sharing knowledge with each other, very important thing. Highly performing team member will share knowledge with each other. Like in our case, like teams, what they do is, if they get certain cases in support, it's out of box, they try to share with the teammates actually, so that the teammate also understand how to tackle those cases next time. So sharing knowledge with each other is very important. Its employee has to share the knowledge with each other, so that the other employee is also performing. Allowing all the team members to participate, key essential part. Each team members might have their inputs to share. So highly effective team like takes viewpoint of all the reporting employees, and then they take the decisions. Emphasize the team member to follow the process, very important thing. Highly effective team members will always follow the process, so that there is less breakdown, and high achievable highly goals can be achieved. Recognition and appreciation, very important thing. Highly performing team will always recognize and appreciate the performance. Like they will always recognize each and every individual for the contribution which they have done in the team. Respecting your team members, highly performing team will always respect team members, like I initially said, so that they perform well. Because if they respect each other, they get a lot of confidence, and they perform well in the process, and they achieve high results. So these are characteristic of high performing team. Let's move on to the other part. Techniques to reward and recognize employee, very important thing, like how to reward and recognize employee. There are two important things which recognizes recognizes an employee to come up and get the reward. The first important thing is the kind of motivation they have. There are like two kind of motivation: intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Now, intrinsic motivation is something when a person is internally motivated. That happens when the person is eagerly want to do something in the process, something in the program. No one is pushing him, but he is doing it. That is intrinsic motivation, internal motivation. Now, extrinsic motivation is something they do it because they want to achieve some financial goals. Like for example, a company has kept a reward and recognition thing. So most of the people are performing well for the reward they're expecting. So there are like financial expectations there. So there are intrinsic as well as extrinsic motivation. So we should enable more intrinsic motivation. There are people who are more internally motivated to work. So let's see what are the enablers to motivate them. Understand what inspires each other, like what is going to inspire them in that way. Like someone might be needing extra support, extra training or something. Do that so that they're motivated, they're performing well. Involve team member in decision making process when it affects the team. Like if the team is not performing, like XYZ goal is not met, then involve the team in the decision making process. Do a root cause analysis, do a brainstorming session, so that all the team members get internally motivated and their points are recognized and they perform well. Provide opportunity that allow team members to work on projects in line with their interest. Like many a times, like in our support team, some people are interested in participating in continual service improvement program. Like they keep sharing improvement ideas with me. They keep sharing about new articles which is required. They keep sharing about the internal articles which is required. So we give them opportunity to write that articles. We give them opportunity to participate in that program, and they're inspired in that way. Identify opportunity for professional and personal growth, very important thing. Like identify, like in your team, who has the potential to go to next level. Everyone has a potential, but like showing them the career direction is very important. Like if you are in level 1 right now, how can you reach to level 2? What are the skills which you need to upgrade to move on to level 2? That's important. So identify the opportunity and then inspire them to achieve that opportunity. Acknowledge efforts by sharing positive feedback promptly with the team members, very important thing. Like if there is something like the team member has done exceptionally well, it's important that they are recognized. An email can be sent to the team member, so that keeping the team in loop, so that they're recognized actually and they feel positive. Develop clear reward and recognition program. Involve team member in agreeing on the criteria for the reward and recognition. Very important. Having a reward and recognition program is very important. And also, like, team members should be knowing like how they're going to be rewarded. For example, what metrics we're implementing, what are the weightages for those metrics, those need to be shown to the team members. Set realistic career goal. Very important. Set a realistic career goal about how they can reach from X level to Y level. Provide consistent encouragement. Keep encouraging them so that they are motivated. Provide objective performance measurement. Very important thing. Measure their performance by sharing them the objective, that this is the objective which I have for you, and this is the performance management process I have for you. Now let's perform together and build a high performance team. That's done with the help of intrinsic motivation. Communicate both positive and negative feedback in a constructive way. Very important thing. Sometimes employee might be doing good. It's very important to recognize the employee. If there are things which he's not doing good, I mean, like he needs improvement, then again, providing a constructive feedback is very important, so that he knows where he went wrong, where was the breakdown, so that next time he doesn't do the same breakdown. So providing constructive feedback is essential. Provide an enjoyable work environment by setting example for courtesy, respect, and humor. On humor, very important thing. Courtesy and respect and humor, these all things makes the work environment really enjoyable. So this need to be done on a regular basis by the team leaders. Have regular evaluations. Listen to what team members are saying. Very important. Like if team member is sharing something to you, listen to the employee and then come out with viable solutions. Encourage team member to have a healthy work-life balance. Very important thing. Always encourage your team members to take the breaks on time, take care of the health, so that if they're healthy, they'll perform well. That's very important. So team leaders will always approach their mentees to take care of their health, and give them goals in such a way that they're able to do it, they're able to deliver it, so that they can maintain highly effective lifestyle, as well as they can balance the work properly. Okay, so we're done with that. Now let's talk about a team assessment. Like whoever is a team leader, they're working with the team right now. So there's an assessment which will be shared with this slide. There's a Google Doc which is there, so you can practice this assignment. Let me give you a few demonstration on that. Like you see in this table right now, like there are characteristics and behavior which a high performing team has, like participating in team activity, displaying courtesy and respect for others, sharing knowledge, contributing ideas and opinion, maintain positive attitude, is dependable, trust, offer encouragement, listenings, follow through on commitment. These are important characteristics which each of your employees should have actually. So you can shout one, and you can check out if your employee is having or not. Like for an example, here there are 5 employees I'm having as an example in the sheet. So in the first activity, I see first behavior, participate in team activity. Okay, so here what I see is one employee is not participating. So 80% of the team is participating, that one person is not participating. I need to sit with him, check out like what is the reason, why he's not participating. Is it intrinsic or extrinsic enabler need to be applied? Got the point? So you have to call out each, like sharing knowledge. There are 3 people who are sharing knowledge in my team as an example. 60% of the team is sharing knowledge, 40% is not. Who are those? Like employee 1 and employee 2. So I can go and check like why they are not sharing knowledge. What is the reason? Is there any process issue, any technology issue, any willingness issue? So this can be done as an exercise, and most probably try to achieve the 100%. If you achieve the 100%, your 100%, your team is going to be highly performing. You have to do this regular exercise. Like once the team is new, like you can do it, and once you start with the team, after a month you can do it, and every quarter you can try to do it. And like I said, in 20% I'm seeing offer encouragement. I'm seeing like there are only 1 person who is offering encouragement, others are not. So I need to check out like what are the reasons. As a team leader, when I probe them, when I talk to them, I get to know the reasons. Okay, these are the things why they are not doing it. So this is a team activity which you can do, and you can try to identify like where you're standing as a team. Add your employee name, select yes if they perform that behavior, and no if they don't perform the behavior. and at the end calculate the aggregated score for determining what percent of your employee participating in the activity. Okay, so this is team assessment. Let's move on with the other part. Performance management, very important, one of my interesting part and support. Like, it is said, like, if you can't you cannot manage if you don't measure. That's very important. In order to manage, you have to measure things, and if you're measuring things, you have to have a performance management process in place. So we're going to learn about performance management standard here. Setting up KPI to measure individual performance, reporting the team and team member KPI daily basis, weekly basis, and monthly basis, setting smart objective to manage individual team member performance, a bi-weekly coaching process for effective expectation, setting a process documentation process. Performance management, very important thing. Performance management, what is performance management? Basically, it's a process to define the desired outcome, setting performance standard, reporting results, and holding your employee accountable for results. Very important. You are measuring things, so you have to hold things for accountable. Okay, so performance management is a process of defining the desired outcome, like what you are expecting from the employee, then setting the standard for the employee, and then holding the employee accountable for the results. All right, that is performance management. Now, why to review the performance? That is a question mark. Why should I review your performance? The first and the important thing is determining career directions and promotions. When you review the performance, you determine whether that person is having an ability or the skill set to be promoted to next level or not. When you do the review, you get that idea. Addressing issues and concern. When you review the employee, you get to know, okay, there are certain issues the employee is having, actually, from a process standpoint, from a people standpoint, from a technology standpoint, where you get an opportunity as a team leader to address that. Determining pay increase. Again, when you review the employee, you get to know, okay, whether he's expecting an increase or not increase. That's a part of performance management process. Agreeing on training requirement for individual, very important thing. When you do the review, you get to know, okay, this person is needing a training. I'll give one example on that. Like, many times we confuse us, like whenever the person is not performing, we say, okay, he needed training. Actually, no. The first question we should ask here is, like, we should speak to the person. No, if you're not performing, you're not here. Actually, we should tell them that. The next day, if they start performing, it means the training was not needed. Actually, training was not needed. But if you're still not performing, despite you telling that if you're not performing, you're not here, it means the training is needed. So many a times team leaders take training as a misconception. They say, okay, I want to give training to this employee, is not performing. Why to give the training? Very important thing is determine whether training is actually needed or not, because training needs lot of time value, and lot of that time value has a financial value again, because the amount of time the team leader is spending on the training, that could be optimized in other things, which adds financial value for the organization, for the department. So very important thing, agree on training requirement when it is essential. Demonstrate meeting or exceeding expectation. Very important thing. When you do the review, you get to know whether the person is doing well or is not doing well, is exceeding expectation or is below expectation. You get to know that. Determine ongoing job fit. You determine whether the person is actually capable for that job role or not, based on your review. So we have an assessment process. Every department has an assessment process. Some has 3-month confirmation period, some has 6-month confirmation period. So we determine with the help of the review. So that's why review is very, very important, very, very essential part of the performance management standards. How to set the performance standard? That's a very important question. It's set with the help of goals and objectives. If you remember, in the leadership, I talked about strategic perspective. All the team leaders got the strategic perspective. Organization has their own goal, right? Then department heads gets that internal department goals. So department heads, they set their internal goal for the team, they set internal goal for the team members. So setting goals and objectives is actually done in the performance management process. Defining the job description is done in the performance management process. Okay, so how to set the performance standard? With the help of goals and KPIs, and with the help of job description. Let's move on to other slide. Setting up KPI to measure individual performance, very, very important thing. As a team leader, you have to set KPIs for individual team leader, which might have already been done by the department heads maybe, but it's very important. Organization has goal like revenue goal, net promoter, customer satisfaction. These are important goal which are like organization goals. Then there is a department goal which is called key performance indicator for each department. Then there's a team goal for the team leaders. Then there's an individual goal for the individual employees. Okay, so these are the hierarchy of goals. Starts from organization goal, department goal, team goal, and then individual goals. Here's an example, like example of support department, like setting up KPI. The organization goals, like we have our goals like from the organization, like 95% is the customer satisfaction score, average wait time of less than 3 minutes, missed chat should not be less than more than 5% of the volume. So in order to achieve this key result indicator, which are the result indicator of the organization, we have set internal KPIs. So internal KPIs for the agent, like 95% should be the customer satisfaction score. Team score should be 95% for individual team leaders. SLA should not go more than 2 minutes of the average handle time. 2% of the chat is the chat miss goal for the team leaders. Ticket quality score, which is an evaluation metric which has a correlation with customer satisfaction score, which is 97%. Agent product test, like how effective the agent is with the latest product knowledge, that has a correlation with the resolution score, and the resolution score has a correlation with the customer satisfaction score. So these are the key performance indicator which we have set to achieve the key result indicator, that is our department goal. Now, to achieve that, the most important role is played by the team leader here. The support team leader plays a very important role because they are driving the operational part of the department. They are driving the individual employee KPI. And if the individual employee is achieving the KPI, the team leaders achieve the KPI. If the team leader achieve the KPI, the department goal is achieved. And if the department goal is achieved, the strategic goal of the organization gets achieved. So this is how, we do it in support department. And the team leaders plays a very important role. No matter like if you're working other departments, like you are a team leader, it's really very important, like whatever metrics is, whatever goals are defined by your team leader, you have to make sure that you drive that goal in much more efficient way through your employees, so that the department goals can be achieved. Because if the department goals get achieved, the organization goals get achieved. So setting up KPI to measure individual performance is important, and driving that is much more important, which is done by the team leader. So team leaders are the pillar. Actually, you guys are the pillar who drive the team and make the department or the team much more effective. Now, once you decide the performance measurement system, reporting the team and team members KPI daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis is very important. How do I know, like, where I'm standing? How do I know where my team is standing? How do I know where my department is standing is very important. And that is done with email communication. This is the important thing which we use in our department, which is called report distribution metric. Okay, what the metric is, what is the reason this metric is, who the audience should be to know this metrics is, what is the frequency of this metric, what should be the format, and where the delivery should be sent. So let's take it for an example, department customer satisfaction score. Why? To know our department customer satisfaction score, it might be needed by support, the company directors, the managers. They might need it in weekly format, Excel format, email, department chat SLA, which is to know the department SLA. Basically, it might be needed by the directors, by the managers on a weekly basis in Excel format, through email. Agent customer satisfaction score, agent need to know their individual score. The stakeholders or support agent, they need on a daily basis through email format. Team customer satisfaction score, the team leader want to know that, and from an individual team standpoint, it need to be sent on a daily basis, weekly basis in an Excel format, and in email. So this is the report distribution metric. This is automatically sent from the service management system, that is Zendesk. We have automated that. So this is important, and based on this, the team leader, the team member, everyone knows, like, how things are going, and accordingly the actions can be taken. Setting smart objective to manage individual team performance, very important thing. As a team leader, when you deal with people, when you deal with your employees non-performance, always suggested is set a smart objective. Now, setting a smart objective is really, really, really very important. Why it's important is because you go step by step. Be specific with the goal. What do you want your employee to achieve? Let's say, for example, in your in your team, actually, one person is not performing. He's not performing and he's not hitting a particular goal which you have in your department, in your team, actually. So set a goal. Okay, in this particular quarter, you're going to hit this amount of goal. Okay, set a specific goal that in this particular quarter you're going to hit this amount of goal. So this goal is specific, that you want to achieve, you have to achieve this goal, because this is what your target is and this is what you're expected to achieve it. So document that, get that documented, be specific to him, and measure it. Measure it like, okay, you're saying that in quarter you're going to achieve this goal, then set a weekly goal, that in week 1 you're going to achieve this, in week 2 you're going to achieve this, in week 3 you're going to set up an incremental goal. Every week the goal should be increased by 2%, 3%, 5%, so that the overall quarter goal can be achieved. So set a measurable goal, and those goals should be communicated to him on a weekly, on a monthly basis, so that by the time it's quarter 1, he knows whether he has achieved the goal or not. And in between, if you come to know he has not achieved the goal, you can take new action plan to support him so that he can achieve the goal. So goal should be always measurable, and goal should always be actionable. Create proper action plan. In strategic perspective, if you remember, I talked about critical success factor. You have set the goal, you have set the objective, but you have not set the action plan. Then how you're going to achieve the objectives and goal? So set the actionable goal. The goal should be actionable. Write down all the action plan properly, get that documented, and put it to the team member that, okay, this is what are the action points, this is what I'm expecting, this is what I want you to implement, and then we are going to measure your results. Set an expectation to him. The goal should be actionable and relevant. Very important. It shouldn't be like the goal is just for a quarter. The goal should be designed in such a way that it is measurable and actionable in a particular quarter, but is also consistent for a year. Okay, so you should practice with the employee in setting the goal in such a way that he is not only hitting the goal for a quarter, but it's long term. It should be long term. Okay, so that is relevant. So having a specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and time bound goal is very important. Like in the beginning, in the measurable section, we are setting the time bound goal. Let's say, okay, in this quarter you're going to achieve this goal. That is a measurable goal. So in the time bound, what happens is, if you're not able to achieve that goal in that quarter, you revise the goal. You say, okay, in this quarter we are not able to achieve this, so let's revise it. So you extend it for a few more month actually, and set a new time bound. So goal should be specific, measurable, actionable, relevant. If not achieved, it should again be time bound, and it should be in an expectation. Sometimes what happens is, like, we set the goal, we measure it, we even send the action plan, but again we don't check whether the person implemented or not implemented. That's important. Whether he is only implementing it for 3 months, only achieving the targets for 3 months, and then after that is not achieving it. So that is the gap which team leaders have. Many times I've seen that. So if that is consistently going in a cycle, then all the employees are going to achieve the goal. And still, if they're not achieving the goal, there is some other issues, like which has an HR related issues or something which can be taken care of, because the team leader is doing his best to play this SMART objective framework with high performing team. So that's about the SMART objective. Highly recommended. All the team members, team leaders should use it. Bi-weekly coaching process for effective expectation. Very important. When you set SMART objective, let's say you have set up a SMART objective and you have given a goal to your employee. Now, very important is every bi-weekly, every 15 days or every week, you should try to measure it. You should try to measure it, like what is happening, why they're not performing, what are the reasons. So you should start measuring that. So coaching process is very important. Coaching is a process to enable to build on their strength. It is delivered by a supervisor. That is the team leader actually. So first of all, the coaching process should be create a trusting environment. Okay. Identify the root cause of non-performance, and then define and communicate the reason. For example, in our case, not meeting the CSAT goal, because that is our prime metric. So not meeting the CSAT goal. So we have done the root cause why the person is not meeting. Maybe because of interactive skills, discourse skills, solution skills, product knowledge, it might be anything. Begin on a dialogue. Like, say, like, how are you going to excel? Listen to empathy. Listen to the employee, like what he wants to say, why he has not achieved. Mostly what we do, we start saying, and okay, this is what you have done, you have not achieved. Listen to the employee, what went wrong, what kind of support he needs. Listen to, and then in the fourth step, encourage participation by asking open-ended question. Like, if this was done in this way, what would have been the result? Ask him some open-ended questions so that you get to know more answers, and based on that more answers you can use your individual suggestions, and then agree on the action plan and document it. Once you agree on the action plan, okay, these are the things which which I'm unable to do it and I need training or something, then just check out and agree on the action plan, get it documented, that okay, within this period you will be getting a training or you'll be getting a buddy up system. And then after that, again schedule a follow-up meeting within 5-10 days, and then coach the person once again, that okay, you have achieved the target. If you have achieved the target, then assign him a new goal. Don't stop there. If he has achieved 90%, assign him 92% next month. So keep stretching the goal so that the person is more inspired and motivated to achieve it. But it should be realistic. Assign a new goal. If not achieved, provide detailed feedback and ongoing feedback as per the performance success plan. Continue the process of non-performance. So this is a coaching process, very important, highly effective coaching process, which is actually needed, which actually should be done by the team leader with his employees to whom he is actually doing coaching and feedback. Hiring and training management. So hiring and training management is the essential part. Building a solid minimum hiring and training requirement process is very important. Basically these are done by the department heads. So building a solid minimum hiring and training, because based on the training, based on the people, you get the output. Okay, if you lack there, no matter how much training you give, how much training and coaching you do, if the person is not having that skill set, you'll not get the deliverables. So build a solid minimum hiring and training requirement process. Build a measurable employee onboarding and training process. Two things very important. Building a solid minimum hiring and training requirement process. Define the minimum requirement first of all. Minimum requirement. Let's say in my department I have a position, so I need minimum 12 requirements, 12 skill set which the person should have. So that is minimum requirement. Defining the hiring skills, like which you need from candidate, without which you cannot hire an employee. Okay, so in that designation I need 10 important skill set without which I'm not going to hire that designation. Even if one skill is missing, I'm not going to hire, because those skills are not trainable. I'm not ready to train those skills. Then define the training skills which you are ready to train after hiring the employee. So there are two skills. Like let's say if I have 12 requirements, 10 skills are needed without which I'm not going to hire, even if one or two skill is missing. So 10 skills are essential. So if the hiring skills are not meeting, like if you're not getting all the 10 skills, don't hire. That's very important. If you get all the 10 skills, then hire, and the other tools you're ready to train. Okay, so defining the minimum requirement, defining the hiring requirement, and then defining the training requirement, skill requirement is very important. Because in case if you hire someone, if two skills are missing, and if you hire, then you have to train those person, and training those person is going to take hours, going to add business, going to add resource timing, financial values, all those things are there. Okay, so that is very important. It's very important to define the minimum requirement, define the hiring requirement, and define the training requirement. Building a measurable employee onboarding and training process. Once you do that, once you hire the employee, define the new employee training hour as per the process requirement and SLA. So the department might have SLA, okay, this designation should be trained in this many days. So define that. Okay, what is the training which you are going to do, how long it is going to go. Define that properly. Develop the training content with with detailed examples so that the participant gets the training in much more effective way with examples. Prepare the Gantt chart of the training. Gantt chart is like day one what he is going to do, and for how long the training will be, for day two how long the training will be. So do a Gantt chart, and then prepare a consolidated Gantt chart saying, okay, the training will be for 3 months, the pre-process training will be for this duration, the product training will be for this duration. Prepare a detailed Gantt chart so that there's a clear expectation between the employee and the department. Evaluation after training, very important. A product test can be conducted, or you can be put on a live thing and can be tested, and then employee can start working on the projects. So this 5 important things are really very essential. Define the training hours, develop training content with examples, prepare Gantt chart of the training, the evaluation after the training, and then put the people on the project. Because if you do this effectively, your team leaders will get a highly effective employee, and they just need to drive them, coach them, and the team is in a high performance way. So that is the ideal thing which need to be done, in the beginning itself. So that's important. So we are done with the leadership. We are done with the employee motivation and recognition. We are done with the strategic part. We are done with rewards and recognition, and we are done with the hiring and training part. I hope, like, in this session, you got more information from a team leader standpoint. If you have any feedback, you can share. The link will be shared with you on the slide. And if there is any questions, Vinay can put it to me, and I can address it.
Yes, Govindraj, and thank you so much for a very detailed explanation about what it means to be a leader, and how the team lead needs to work and set up their team members.
Right.
Very enlightening, the session. So thank you so much
Okay.
for that.
My
And also
pleasure.
thank you so much for everyone who is attending the session and being there and understanding all the things. We have few questions.
Okay.
Obviously, like people have sent me. Definitely, like during this also, if you have any questions, do send it to me on chat. I will relay it here. So going first question that we have from Nayan is
Okay.
he's specifically asking about the assessment that we discussed.
Okay.
So his question is like, how much should be the frequency of the assessment for
Okay.
team members, and how do we decide based on different teams? How much should be the duration for that assessment? Should it be like weekly, monthly, quarterly? How do we gauge that?
Ideally, like, the assessment should be, every quarterly, because
Okay.
because when you have a new team, okay, then the people are new actually. So you need time
Hmm.
to understand, like, who is encouraging, who is listening. So it take time actually, because if you see, there is a team forming stage. The team is forming, then the team is storming, then
Got
norming,
it.
then performing. So you have to be at the norming stage. So in order to be at the norming stage, it might take around two
Yes.
months or, so you can determine, okay, within, ideally it would suggested like a 2 month or 3 months should be there to do this assessment. And every like, for example, if you have the same team members, there is no attrition, and you have done it for a quarter, then you don't have to do it, because you know that the same person is performing, he is encouraging, he is inspiring, so you don't have to do it. When you have new team members, then you have to do it, and can be done every quarterly.
Yes. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
Got it? Yeah.
So, it's like, could this be like based on a team as well? Like as you said, like if the team is new, probably you need to give some time to the team. And
Right.
if you have like a team which is been working with you for a very long time, then definitely the time can vary. So
Right.
this is something that again I think can be a subjective matter where individual team leads can also decide.
Definitely.
So we can discuss like what should be the ideal time, but again like
Yeah.
team leads have a
Yeah.
better opportunity to
Yeah.
subjectively decide,
Yeah.
right?
This is basically, Vinay, this is
Yeah,
basically a
and
team
also
leader team
during
leader
the
task.
session, throwing throughout the presentation, we see that there are different names that we talk about.
Okay. Names in
Yes,
the sense.
yeah. So as again, when we are talking about team leads, I saw in the presentation, sometimes it is called as a team lead, sometimes it is called as a mentor,
Right.
sometimes it is called as a coach.
Mhm.
So these are like different hats that a team lead has to wear, I guess.
Yeah, like, a team leader is someone who is supervising the team. He is coaching.
What are your
He is
views on that?
mentoring.
Wearing a different hat for like different situations. Uh,
Different situation, like, let's say for an example, like, there is a team lead, okay, and like, he's at an authority position. Now there is an authority position, so he has to get things done in such a way that, people are proactively doing it, even if he is not available. The team is performing, so he has to make sure that he is,
mhm.
he is mentoring the team in such a way that team is inspired. He is coaching the team in such a way that he is inspired. He's also managing the team in such a way that there is an adherence. So it's a combination of everything. That is why the name is team leader. He's not only a kind
Got
of
it.
manager, but also a leader, you know who is
Right.
enforcing the rules and regulation of the organization, plus inspiring the people to perform as a mentor and as a coach.
Okay. The person like who is really there for the team.
Right, right, right. Like for an example,
Cool.
sometime it
We have
happens.
another question,
Yeah.
like, yeah, go on,
Yeah,
go on,
yeah. I
Govind.
had one example. Like sometime what happens in a company like us, like where one person has to take multiple roles, right? Like where he's a manager plus he takes care of the
Right.
team as well. So they have to have combination skills.
Yes.
Like they have to be a manager plus they have to be a leader, right? So it's a combination. Like
Okay.
if in sometime like he's just a team leader, but he cannot take other decisions. So in that case, he's just a mentor and a coach. So he has to give guidance and
Understood.
suggestions about how to improve his performance. But when it comes to the review and all, it is done by the managers. Yep.
Understood.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. I think it answers the
Right.
question. There is another question which is very much like about the timeline that we are currently in. Like, most of the workplaces are moving towards the remote work, and people are working remotely
Right.
during this pandemic situation. So, what are the challenges? Like, how is, like, what kind of challenges you faced? During the leadership and during this time.
Okay.
Also, like, how do we tackle these challenges when, specifically, like, when you are not physically in touch with people, they are not in the office environment but working remotely, and it's a very different kind of atmosphere and different kind of work culture. uh, so what are your views on that?
Okay. Challenges is like in the beginning, like when we were the last to move on to work from home actually. So in the beginning, like there was challenges in terms of like how we'll be working remotely. I was like totally clueless, but we created a process. Like we created a process called work from home process, a group in which like whenever they log in actually, they will say I've logged in, and they will punch. And if they want to go on a break, they will say I'm going on a break. Even if they are going to like anywhere, they are even going to drink water or something, they'll say no, I'm going for water, because we are doing 24/7, so one has to be online. So
Yeah.
every interval, like every 30 minutes, they will ping on the chat like what kind of activity they have done, like number of chats they took, number of emails they did, number of customer success activity they did, marketing activity they did. So that has to come on the group, and the team leader will assess, like okay, like whether they have done it or not done it. And if they're not doing it, then the team leader will ask a question like why it was not done. So in that way we are trying to manage. And like somehow, like in case if there is a meeting needed, we take like meeting. In case if there is a new product is launched, so what we do is we record the training, we write the KB, and then we speak to the person one on one, and also we share the video recording link. So we had the defined process in the company in the on premises. So we deployed the same framework on the work from home. The only difference is we are not sitting in the office, but we are following the same process. The only thing is we have implemented the chat where whatever in workplace you can see like what he is doing, like in which hour what he is doing is going on break, but here we cannot see. So we are putting that in the chat. So in that way, like we are driving the performance. So if something new is like something new comes in, we add an article, we write a process, and then we publish it, and everyone reads the process, they acknowledge. We have a knowledge transfer process where in the Excel sheet everything is added, like what all new process came in. So whoever who has not actioned it, they will action it, they will acknowledge it in the Excel sheet, and we will see okay how many knowledge transfers are pending. So in that way, like we are doing it.
Got
So
it.
those are the certain challenges I had, but it went extremely well. The only challenges which I faced is about like how to place the people, like
Got it.
the,
Got it.
the shift thing. But because in the initially working from office, we had headsets actually. Two headsets can be utilized by multiple people, but here we had that challenge. So that has been resolved. So
This is more
like
like
we have managed
logistical
everything. Logistic,
things.
yeah, logistics issues are still there, but we are resolving it. Like for an
Got
example,
it.
headset issue, we are resolving it. So we're coordinating with admin and we are resolving it. So
Got
now,
it.
like earlier,
uh,
like
more
yeah,
like
earlier, yeah.
when challenges come, like, we have to, like, face those challenges and figure
Yeah,
out the solutions.
figure out. Like let's say right now, like like when we came to work from home, we only did chat and marketing other activity. We never did customer success. So now we started it. We
Got it.
started calling the client, we have headset. Now we have started billing collections also. So all the
Understood.
processes which we started there, we have started here. And slowly, steadily, if we encounter any challenge, we identify a viable solution.
Awesome. Got it. So I think that's a really good way to describe different challenges. How did we resolve those challenges? And just as an information, Govindraj is from the customer support management perspective, and he's handling the customer support management team. And in this team, like, it is very critical that whenever customer comes on a chat or is calling, that time the person or the agent has to remain on seat, and that is one of the main reasons like why they have such a rigorous process in place. Like when it comes to
Right.
like, even if you are like moving out of a desk for some time, it needs to be informed so that the customer is not getting affected because of that. So that is really one of the challenges that I can see, like which was not in the office environment, but definitely when it comes to remote working, this one of the challenges can be posed.
One
All
more
right.
one more thing I wanted to share, Vinay, like,
Yes.
the staffing, like staffing, we have we have 50-50, like 50% people are working from this side and 50% are working from Mumbai side. So like, I never predicted that electricity will go in Mumbai. Okay.
Yes.
But it
Yes.
went, and in Virar side we had the electricity. So
Right.
my team jumped in, like, so, and
Yeah.
we worked. So like, that is one of the immediate thing which I encountered. I never encountered that. But
Okay.
that placing, like 50% placing, had helped me actually. That scheduling helped me out.
That is like a really interesting topic in
Yeah.
itself. Also, the benefits of remote working.
Yeah.
So if there is a failure, like you have multiple locations which
Right.
are there. So
Right.
it's kind of like having a distributed team, and because of that thing, like this kind of issue that which we faced the other day,
Right.
it did not pose that much of a threat. And also, like it speaks a volume about the kind of teamwork is in place in
Right.
like when the half of the team is not being there, immediately the other half jumped in and made sure that all the matrix and
Right.
all numbers
Right.
remain same. That is
Right.
really a great thing
Right.
to, and shows like puts an example in front of all of us.
Right.
That's a really good thing. Again,
Yeah.
like thank you so much, Govindraj, for today's session, and thank you everyone for also
Thanks.
attending the
Thanks.
session.
Thanks so
And
much, Vinay, for giving this opportunity, and letting me to conduct the session. And it really inspired me and motivated me. Thanks a lot.
thank you. Thanks everyone, and thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thank you.
We'll have similar sessions in coming few weeks, more and more. Remember to fill up the feedback form, and just to mention, like this deck, the presentation deck that we saw, we'll be sharing the deck with all the team members very soon. Along with that, all the Excel sheets that Govindraj was talking about, the examples and everything, those we'll be sharing with all the team members. And also we have this recording which will be placed on the YouTube channel that we have, so that we can come back to this and go through this channel again once more. Again, thank you so much for everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Stay
Thanks.
safe.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Take care. Bye.